The Wizard and the Wicked Librarians, an allegory of the soteriology of Reformed Christianity. There once was a wizard, great and powerful, who knew many spells and could perform every kind of magical act. He was the mightiest and wisest wizard in the land, and he loved his family very much. Everyone revered him and would bow to him when he and his family walked down the road. All the people of the land knew that he could do anything, and, what's more, that everything he did was right, and that no one had any right to question what he did or why he did it. God is sovereign, therefore he is good. Now, the wizard had many books of spells. He stored those spell books in a great library that was many stories tall and very long. One day he decided that he would like to have a group of librarians take care of all his spell books. So he went out to the worst parts of the land where there were wolves and lions and gathered together many people there to be his librarians. He told them, "You all will have a purpose in my library as my librarians. And in my library, you will be safe from the wolves and the lions out here. God made us with purpose, to glorify Him and to enjoy Him." He then took one of those people, a man named Omerk, and made him the chief librarian. It was Omerk's job to listen to the wizard and then tell all of the other librarians what they were supposed to do. The wizard told Omerk, "You all will work in my library. You all will see to it that my spell books are cared for and maintained. Only do not read any of the spell books, for all of my spells are too powerful for you, and any one of them will destroy you if it is set loose." God made a covenant with us whereby we were to obey Him. As the wizard and his librarians came to his home, the wizard called out to his family, saying, "Come, my loved ones, and celebrate in the library with us. These people will now be my librarians. I am trusting them with everything I have, and I am pleased to do this. Rejoice with me." So his family came with them into the library to celebrate. He kissed his wife and hugged his children, and everything was very good. What God made was originally very good. Now, during the celebration, Omerk overheard someone say that the wizard had a spell in his library that could make anyone like the wizard himself, that the spell would grant the reader powerful wisdom like that of the wizard. So, while everyone else danced and ate, Omerk slipped away into the back of the library, hoping to find the spell book that would make him like the great wizard he now served. He found a very large spell book in the very back and opened it to a page that was labeled, "A Spell for Mighty Knowledge." "This has to be the one," said Omerk to himself, and he read it aloud. "To the nature goes the power to control and handle me." Man sought to be like God, rather than obey God's covenant. Immediately, a black vapor rose from the book and started to spread. Omerk tried to fan away the black vapor, but it quickly filled the entire library. When the library was full of the black vapor, Omerk and all the librarians began to change. They became beasts with huge claws and terrible fangs, and they could only think of horrible things to do to the wizard's family. The wicked librarians leapt upon the wizard's family and murdered them all. As they tore each person in the wizard's family apart, piece by piece, they kept screaming at the wizard. Slandering the wizard, they said, "You shouldn't have kept all the power for yourself, you selfish pig. You should not have had us serve you, you arrogant boar. We were better off without you, you tyrannical sow." Through one man, the sinful nature spread, and man became dead toward the things of God, resisting and hating them. The wizard, seeing that his librarians had become thoroughly wicked, stamped his magical staff upon the ground and left the library. As he left it, the library transformed into a prison to hold all of the wicked librarians. The wonderful library, which once had many grand stained glass windows and spectacularly large rooms, became a prison with small, barred windows and insufferably tiny rooms. The sign over the gate, which once said protected, now said awaiting judgment. God cursed his creation as a punishment and as a reminder. The people of the land heard what happened to the wizard's librarians, to his family, and to his library. They wondered how the wizard would punish the wicked librarians for what they had done. One man said, "If they had insulted me by tearing apart my family when I had done so much for them, I would have had them branded with a hot iron, one branding for each and every curse they hurled at me." "They would probably keep cursing you if you did that," said the man's wife. "Then so be it," said the man, "and I would keep having them seared with the iron for as long as they continued to curse me." The unregenerate heart will always be full of self-pity and enmity toward God, even in punishment. As the people tried to guess what kind of punishment the wicked librarians would receive, the wizard began to build his punishment device. He first made a great pit, one large enough to hold every wicked librarian, and it was deep enough to keep any wicked librarian from climbing out. Then he filled the pit with fire that would scorch and then revive, and then scorch again any wicked thing that entered it. Over the pit he hung a sign which read, "Justice." The people cried for joy when they saw what the wicked librarians' punishment would be. The family they loved would be avenged, and they all shouted, "The wizard is right to do as he sees fit with his own enemies. He redeemed them from the wolves and lions. Their lives belong to him." God is glorified in punishing evil, for it demonstrates the holiness of his covenantal laws. Before the punishment was carried out, however, the wizard did something that no one in the land expected. He went into the prison, which had been his library, which was the tomb of his family, and pulled out a large number of the wicked librarians. He had these chosen wicked librarians stand before him and said to them, "You are wicked, and not one of you is any better than the wicked librarians who remain in the prison waiting to come to justice. However, I have no family, because you murdered them, so I will make you into my family." But God the Father chose a people for himself, and not because of any good in them. All the people of the land stared at the scene in stunned amazement. The wizard's family had been righteous, but how could these wicked librarians live righteously? How could they who were so evil, so full of curses, so apt to destroy, ever replace the wizard's pure and unsullied family? All the people of the land bowed down before the wizard, saying, "Mercy, mercy is his name. Who else could forgive like this? Who else could redeem like this?" God is infinitely merciful, for the pardon of even one duly convicted criminal is infinitely more mercy than is deserved. The wizard, having proclaimed his plan, had the people of the land bring out a large cauldron. He looked at the chosen wicked librarians before him, and he began to cut off pieces of his own flesh and put them into the cauldron. The wizard first cut off one of his own ears, looked at the wicked beast that had been Omerk, and said, "This is for you, Omerk." He then cut off a finger, looked at another wicked beast, and said, "This is for you, Aziel." The wizard kept doing this until a body part had been severed for each and every one of the wicked beasts that he had brought out of the prison. God the Son ransomed each of his people individually, suffering for them, and it was costly. The people of the land cried when they saw what the wizard had become. He was no longer what he once was, but had become a bloody and wounded mass standing in front of beasts who were still hurling insults at him. But the wizard was smiling and full of joy, despite the pain he had endured. He stamped his magic staff on the ground and said, "This is for my family." The pile of severed body parts in the cauldron then became a white vapor that rushed upon the wicked beasts. As the white vapor entered the beasts, their claws and fangs began to recede as their wickedness also began to recede. The beasts who were left in the prison, however, mocked the wizard's gift, saying, "We have hated your family from the beginning, and we are glad that we will have no part in it." Having been imputed God the Son's righteousness, God's people will be remade by God the Spirit. The wizard then proclaimed to the people of the land, "These chosen ones are not yet free of their wickedness, for the black vapor will fight the white vapor for a time. Therefore I will send these chosen ones back into the prison until their purification is complete. But do not wonder whether or not these chosen ones will be cured, for my flesh will most surely redeem every beast for which it was severed. At that time I will take all of the librarians out to receive the destiny that I have decided upon for them. The chosen ones will be welcomed into my home as my new family, but those still hurling curses will be hurled into the pit that I have prepared for them." Thus God makes a covenant of grace. He promises to effectually redeem his own people in his own time. And now the people of the land wait for the final day. On that day, justice will be done in the land, and the family that was lost will be restored many times over. This is the day that the land groans for and eagerly awaits. The wizard has done this, and will do all these things. The wizard will punish and purify in his time, and no one can ask, "What have you done?" For he has done with his own enemies as he has seen fit to do. God will eventually restore his creation, and God will be glorified in his justice and mercy. Now, not everyone can accept this message. Many shall purify themselves and make themselves white and be refined, but the wicked shall act wickedly. And none of the wicked shall understand, but those who are wise shall understand. Daniel 12:10, ESV. See also 1 Corinthians 2:14. Amen.